Good afternoon, you lot. It's what day is it? Bloody Monday. Oh, Monday. Look at that. It's Monday afternoon. And yeah, I thought what I want to do is I want to get this lawnmower back up and running, this lawn boy, because I went and used it a few days ago and it was running very rich and the revs were low. So I want to try and get that, have a look into that. So I'm going to take all the carburetor apart and everything, try and get it going. But before I do that, I need to blow all the grass off of it. It's a bit grassy. So, oh blimey, I better fire up the old beast. I tell you what, this is a bloody good compressor. It would help if I switched the plug on, I suppose. It's a bloody good compressor, this. I've done one unboxing and 2 reviews. I did a review a couple of weeks ago, just telling you how good this bloody thing is. If you want a good 100-litre compressor, just go and get one of these because it's bloody good. I haven't had any problems with it yet. But let's get some air into it, and then we can blow all that grass off the deck and from around the engine. Righto, chaps and chapettes, if there is any females watching. You can tell the float bowl, or the float, is stuck open because if you leave the petrol or the tap on, it all runs out the air filter and then gets all this all wet. That's how you can tell the air filter's not wet because it just sucked it all up and evaporated it, but it's moist. So yeah, so you can tell if your float's a bit struck. So I'm going to do is take it apart and see. Because if you remember, I did actually fix it. Well, obviously I didn't fix it, but I fixed it briefly, and it did work. And then it went back to being stuck again. So there's obviously something sticking in there. So let's have a look and see what we got. Righto then. What we got. Let's put this little towel down. Because that way it'll soak up most of any pet rolls that might fall out. Oh, look, there's some falling out now. No one likes it when their pet rolls escape, and I certainly don't. Because that means, oh, look at that. Plenty in there. They're expensive nowadays, these pet rolls. So, I'm not expecting to find anything particularly untoward in here. All I'm expecting to find, well, in fact, it can probably look like it's working fine. I do suspect either the float itself is getting a bit stuck. I wonder, I can't remember what was in here. It might be a bit full up. Sometimes plastic ones and whatever other material they may well be made out of, they can split and then they get a bit full up with petrol, and then they don't quite. Oh, this is a cork one. I couldn't remember what one was in here. And sometimes they don't like to float, that sometimes they sink. But it seems to be working, just as I said, it seems to be working alright. A little mesh in there. That little needle up in there, can we see it? Yeah, I think you can just about see it. Little grey needle there going up and down. So it's working. So decisions. Do I take it apart? But there's not really any need to take it apart, assuming this float is actually floating. Let's have a look in here. See, that's all still clean from when I cleaned it out. I gave it a good old clean, didn't I? Make sure everything was as clean as possible. I did actually do quite a lot of cleaning on it, I think. Right, well, my laziness side is saying leave it together and just put it back together and try and find, well, give it a test and see what it's done now, because sometimes some people will disagree and go, well, if you take it apart because of something weren't working, because it was stuck, and then you didn't do nothing and put it back together, it's obviously still going to be the same. Well, that ain't necessarily true. Sometimes you can take it, you might take it apart and you won't do nothing to it because it'll all look fine in there. You'll put it back together and everything will be working perfectly as it should do. So, you know, mechanical things aren't, you know, sometimes they're a bit strange like that. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go indoors and get a drink, so I'm bloody thirsty, I've run out of coffee, and then I'm going to come put this back together. Right, what I should have done, I was thinking about this while I was having a drink. What I should have done was shown you lot what it actually runs like now, well, what it did run like. And then you could have compared it to what it's going to run like in a minute when I put this back on. And we'll see whether it has actually made a difference. The only thing that I have done off camera is give it a little bit of a blowout with the air again. But I didn't take any jets or take anything out or do anything. I literally just blew around the carburetor, blew around the inside there with the air. But it's not blocked, is it? If you've got too much petrol going in, that's the trouble. Too much of it, not enough. So a blockage isn't an issue. But anyway, nevertheless, we'll stick it back together, we'll stick it back in, and we'll see what's happened. And see what it's going to run like now. The only thing that I would like a new, well, I need a whole new carb really, because this is broken. I might try and glue it on actually. I might try and glue that back down, but the trouble is it takes a bit of pressure when you put the air filter cover on, so glue might not hold it. But that little kind of thing there does bug me a little bit. Not normally, but I'd like this to be quite perfect, so yeah. But for that, because that's all moulded to that, which is moulded to that, which is that, so basically the only thing different is the bowl. It's all together, so it'd have to be a whole new carb. But never mind. I have got that 4652 that I haven't managed to sell yet. I could nick the carb off that, but that is missing the whole lot of it, so that's no good, is it? Boom! Well, there we go. Hopefully it won't suck up the carpet this time. Who remembers that time when I started it up and it sucked up the carpet? Oh dear. I haven't screwed the lawn boy thing down on the top yet. I just want to see what happens. Right then, so that runs a lot better than it. Bit of a snail there. It runs a lot better than it did before, but it's still not quite perfect. So there's a little brass bolt on top of the carb. I don't think you're going to be able to see it, but I turned that in a little bit before. The other day I turned it in a little bit. I wanted to see what that actually did, whether it's a, God, I can't get hold of it now, whether it's a fuel mixture or what, I'm not entirely sure. There's also a throttle up there, but I've got that wide open as far as it'll go. So let's start it up again I'll put you over here this time. Might be a better view for you. Well, I don't know. Might not be. Might be, might not be. Anyway, let's see what happens now. Oh, I've got to put my hand on here because otherwise it will pull it up, but I haven't screwed it down yet. Perhaps it's running a bit too fast now, I wonder. I do wonder if that's running a bit too fast now. It might be. Can you see under there? Bloody cameras are too big these days, aren't they? There's a little... God, bloody hell. There's a little screw, not screw, it's like a circle thing. And you turn that. And that... adjust the resistance on the spring for the little flappy paddle thing, because when the flywheel goes around it blows air on this little sail, and that's what opens the throttle and closes it. There's a spring to adjust where it kind of goes, it just opens a butterfly, so you can adjust it by clicking it, adjust the resistance on that little spring, and that's how you get your revs where you want the revs on this type of thing. So I had it wide open as far as it would go before, because it was, I think it was just running too rich. I had the throttle wide open to try and get it to clear out and rev, but it wouldn't. I can't see any leaking out of the air filter at the moment, so I do wonder why that was. But I've opened that bolt. I think that's probably an air mixture, a fuel mixture screw. I've opened it up half a turn now, so it's a bit richer than it was. But I've also had the throttle wide open again, so I've now closed it a couple of clicks, as you just heard. So we'll start it up again and see what happens. Noise to it now, isn't it? I think I'll open up that throttle about another 3. What did I do? 4 or 5 clicks, wasn't it? I'll open it up another 3 clicks and see if we can get to rev a bit higher. It's noticeably lower now, isn't it? So I'll see if I can get rev a little bit higher. And I think that'll be near enough done. Right then, I think that's pretty much, I've lost my screwdriver now, but I think that's pretty much as good as it's going to get. I'll show you in a minute what it's running like. If I just get my screwdriver, I'll screw these back down. I did think it was going to be a bit of a longer process, but I didn't notice anything wrong in the carb, and I didn't come across anything untoward anyway. All I've done is messed around with that little throttle butterfly thing, little wind sail, and oh, that screws out, isn't it? And that was it. And that little brass bolt, which I'm assuming is a mixture screw, because it does make a difference. So let's put this back down and then have a listen. See what you think there, dudes. I think this has come out pretty well. it may be arguable. What I'd have to do is I'll have to take it out and cut some grass and let it get really hot and put it through some long grass and all that to see. And that's, you know, you can't really fine tune an engine just by starting it up and listening. But it may be slightly too rich. I'm not sure. I could always back that bolt in a little bit, but that's something I can do when I'm cutting. But it sounds a lot better than it did before, and it's definitely running faster. There's not big clouds of smoke coming out anymore, and to me that sounds perfect. Well, as near as perfect as it's going to get. I dare say there'll be some of you lawn boy geeks out there that will go, no, it's not. But please give me advice. Any advice you can give me over it, I'll most certainly take it. What I do need to do is, you can buy those little RPM gauge things. You point it at it, didn't you, and it'll tell you how fast it's going. That way I'd get the right RPM, but I ain't got one of them. So, but it should start up on the first pull. Well, it always has done. It's always been quite a good engine, this one. So let's have a look and see. Oh, proved me wrong, isn't it? I've still got these two strimmers. That bloke bought and paid for them and then never turned up to pick them up. Don't know what's going on there. I've got this chainsaw here. That's going to be the next one to repair. Needs a new chain, so I'll have to get a new chain first, and then we'll fit the chain. And then my plan is to take it all apart and just, you know, clean out all inside it and everything. I think this is from the 80s, this chainsaw. But I'm a bit worried about it. It's still got a bit of compression, but I'm a bit worried, if I'm honest, because when I was using this, it was a bit of a warmer day, 2 or 3 days ago, and the chain was no good. I thought, well, what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and get this tree cut down anyway. So I just kept going and going, and I think it got a bit hot because it conked out. Smoke was coming out of the exhaust even when it was off, you know, just smoke was pouring out. And yeah, I think it got a bit hot, so I am a bit worried about it. But in fact, I'm going to try and start it up now, shall we? Just see what it runs like before I bother getting a new chain for it. Let's see what happens. Oh yeah, I think it's going to be alright. Don't work. Oh, there you go. Worked that time. Yeah, that was alright, and I was a bit worried about it because the way it conked out kind of just went meow, and it wouldn't start after that. Perhaps it got too hot and it's alright now. What it'll be like when it warms up again, you know, after running for a while, who knows. Anyway, new chain coming. If you want to see that video, stay tuned. Lovely job. Thanks for watching, everyone. And as always, I'll see you on the next. Take care.